And if you want to be a successful people, an entrepreneur, remember, you need IQ, EQ, and LQ. What is LQ? LQ is Q of love. If you want to be successful, you should have EQ. Because when you have EQ, you know how to deal with people. But if you do not want to fail, you should have the IQ. IQ may not be you, your team. I'm not a guy that have high IQ, but my team do have very high IQ. When we have a lot of high IQ guys, they need people like me with good EQ things. And LQ, the Q of love, is about care for others. When you care for others, last century, the IT enable yourself. This century, the DT, the data technology, is to enable the others. So when you pay special attention to next 30 years, people who are below 30 years old, company below 30 people, please also pay special attention to women. Women care for the other people much more than men. Men care for themselves more than women. One of the secret sauce for Alibaba is that we have more than 48% of the people in the company, they are women. We have more than 33% of the senior management are women. Women is going to be very powerful in 21st century because last century, people compare about the muscle. This century, people compare about wisdom, about the user-friendliness. So I'm very happy these days. I see a lot of women entrepreneurs here, especially on the internet. People really don't care you're a man or woman. They care whether you serve people better or not, whether you care people better or not. So pay special attention, hire as many women as possible. This is what we did in our company, and this is the secret sauce I want to share with you. The other thing I want to say, please rediscover China. Before I talk about China, I want to show you a short video, just a few seconds, to see how China changed in past 30 years. This is Shanghai today, 1990. Less than 30 years ago, Shanghai was nothing, just a piece of, a farmland. But within 30 years, China made city like Shanghai like this. We have a lot of cities like that developing the past 30 years, grow so tremendously. When we came here, people prepared some videos. I asked a lot of Americans, what do you think about China? Think, panda, bicycles, Great Walls, Tai Chi. I say, know these things. China has changed. We, from nobody, today become the second largest economy of the world. Thanks to the globalization, thanks to America, thanks to Europe, thanks to the people's hard working and partnership. 1972, when Nixon and Mao Zedong signed an agreement, opened the chapter of the political partnership between China and the USA, China did grow very fast. People like me, I was born in Hangzhou, the city where Nixon visited in 1972. I was like 8 years old. Because of that, Hangzhou became an open city. Because of that, we have a lot of American tourists to come to Hangzhou. I start to learn English, giving free tour to those American visitors. And I learned to think different because everything I learned from the books are so different from the things I heard from the American visitors. I know there's a world that is totally different than the other side of the world. In the past 30 years, China embraced the change. In the past 30 years, China take the decision to open and to reform. In the past 30 years, China opened globalization, which today, I think globalization was the name created by Americans. But today, the Americans don't like the globalization. We start to like it. And China also embraced the internet. If America was a country on wheels, China today is a country on the internet or on the mobile phones. And China started to learn from America in the past 30 years. We learn from America, we learn from Europe, we learn from America with great appreciation. People like me, I never got a one-day train in America, but I believe I know much about American than most of the Chinese, maybe more than some of the Americans. I respect the culture. We learn today in China, in Beijing, Shanghai, or Guangzhou, big cities, when you pick up 100 young people, you will find 80 of them can speak at least 50 English words. If you go to Washington, New York, San Francisco, if you pick up 100 young people in America, how many of them can speak more than 10 Chinese words, except from 谢谢? When you learn, when you embrace the change, you have the chance. People start to complain about globalization. I think globalization, nobody can stop it. It will continue to do. The only thing is that how you can change yourself to embrace it. And our China manufacturing is going good. It's doing pretty good in the past 30 years because the Chinese manufacturer study American consumers. They try to making sure the American, European, the global consumers love their products. China has changed. But I think America is a great country. American dreams, the Alibaba dream was get from the American dreams. 1985. I learned so much. I read so many books. I read the GE way. I understand the eBay. I understand the IBM. All the things we tried to learn. And next to 30 years, China is going to be much faster growth. Past 30 years, American economy was the engine of the global economy. I believe the next 30 years, America still will be the leading engine of the global economy. But China is going to be another big engine for the global economy. China is shifting from exporting to importing. We have 1.4 billion people. We have more than 300 million middle class. You know how many people Chinese people traveling around the world every year? Last year, nearly 150 million Chinese people traveling outside China. 150 million people. This is a moving nation around the world. And in next 10, 15 years, China is going to have 500 to 600 million middle class. The demanding for high quality products, high service products is huge. And I would say that think about what does that mean? Well, before how many cities in America has more than 1 million population? You know any idea? 10. How many cities in China has more than 1 million population? 102. 1 million population in China is like a village, but in America it's a big city. My city has only 8.6 million people. It's ranking nothing in China. But the demanding population, middle class, means so much. Imagine the Chinese government announced that in next 5 years, they are going to import $8 trillion US. What does $8 trillion US mean? I think China will import much more than 8 trillion, at least 10 trillion US dollars in the next 5 years. You know how many pigs China eat every year? 600 million pigs a year. Luckily, human beings are eating pigs, not a pig eating human beings. 600 million pigs. How many chickens we eat? 7 billion chickens a year. So the numbers are scary. But what does that mean? That means past 30 years, the American population, middle class, they changed the whole world economy. Next 30 years, China, the growing market, they are going to fundamentally change the landscape of the economy. China is going to buy a lot of things, because if we do not start to buy good products, China is going to be a much more polluted country. We have terrible air, we have terrible soil, we have terrible water. If we do not learn to buy things, we are going to be in big trouble. So $8 trillion means that the number of last year's American exportation to China takes about 70 years to build, to manufacture. So this is what we see. China is going to be the world's largest consumption places, and that engine is going to drive the world economy. But the other thing is, what does that mean to SME? I think this is a good opportunity for small business. In the past years, big companies of America are already all over China, all over the world. So in China, you see almost all the big American companies there. But we need more small business. The next amount of importing to China, export to China, this opportunity belongs to small business. I'm encouraging all the government should set special free trade zones for small business, because we have, every country said small business is important. Every country knows small companies are the driver of employment. Everybody knows small business is so good, but not every government really set the rules. All the free trade zones are designed for big companies. Big companies can go import, export, receive money quickly. Small business never got this chance. Farmers never got this chance. So next 20 years, let's build up a system specifically setting for small business. And this is why I'm flying all around the world. Last year, 870 hours, meeting more than 40 government senior leaders. And this year, I'm going to fly more than 1,000 hours. Continue to evangelize, because if we believe it, we have to make it happen. So, please view China as an opportunity. I'm so happy about President Xi Jinping and President Donald Trump, the wonderful dialogue they had. Because the two markets, if they connected, 30 years ago, American did help China a lot. Next 30 years, China market need a lot of American small products, a lot of products, and made in America. The products, the quality, the service. You guys here, I visited the booth, beautiful products. We Chinese consumers are crazy about that. We need that. So, how can you do business with China? First, doing business is never easy. Don't tell me today doing business is more difficult. Never be easy. But today, you should, in the past 20 years, doing business for import-export, you go to the trade shows. Now, you have to move in online. As I said, China has become a country on the internet, on the mobile phones. And our sales last year is 11% of the total China retail, online and offline combined together. And I tell you that November 11, that is the singlest day we created for the world, for the consumers. Last year, one day alone, we sold $17.8 billion US dollars. And a few days ago, June 18th, we sold 2 million lipsticks with less than 10 minutes. So everything goes on so quick and fast. And 2 days ago, we sold 200 tons of milk powder within less than 5 minutes. So people started shopping online. As I said, 200 million people start to shopping through mobile phone every day. And we are delivering, for our company alone, we are helping delivering over 60 million packages per day, which we foresee that in 10 years, the world in China, the logistics company will deliver at least 1 billion packages per day. So this is how the world changed. Doing business, if you're using the traditional way, I don't think it will work. If you're using the internet, there's a better way. Take for example, Indian government said, Jack, we want to make 50% or 60% of the Indian people have a bank account. My suggestion is that if you're using the traditional banking system, it won't work. So we give our technology mobile payment. Less than 2 years, we have 250 million Indian people using mobile payment today, that in Asia. So think about internet is the opportunity for small business. Do not think about the internet as just e-commerce. Think about internet as e-business. It's better, do not only think about a sell. You should find you design, or let some people in France design, let people in China manufacture it, let some people in the Africa to get the raw materials. So small business, remember, past 20 years, only multinational companies are able to have this kind of international business ecosystem. Today, with the internet, we are able to do this. And it's the opportunity, everything big companies can do in the past 20 years. Today, small business can do it. In the past 20 years, big companies, they have all the money to do the IT, they have all the money, have a lot of office around the world. Today, small business, using internet, e-business, you can do things the same in a very cost-effective way. Last I want to share with you is global buy, global sell is going to be happen in next 10 years. So think about anybody in America, if you want to buy things online, buy a salmon in Norway, you want to buy some coconuts in Thailand, within 72 hours, you will receive it. Our goal is making sure that in next 10 years, anywhere, anybody in the world, if you place an order online, within 72 hours, you will receive it. And we were making sure the government will try to make policies for small business to import and export freely and easily. People may not believe it. I tell you, 3 years ago, the Prime Minister of Canada, he came to our office and said, hey, Alibaba, can you help us selling some Canadian seafood? I said, what seafood? Some people say lobster. So we tried to sell lobster on November 11th that year. For a 1 day, was sold 97,000 live lobsters within 72 hours from Canada to China families, and almost 3 weeks, there is no lobster in Canada market. The first time we helped American farmers selling the cherry, Washington State cherries was funny, because at the USA ambassador to China came to us and said, can you help us to sell the cherries? We said, yeah. So we placed the order online, and the cherries still on the trees. When we got the cherries, when we get the orders, people start to pick up the cherries and deliver. Within 72 hours, cherries were picked, sent to China, distribute into 80,000 families. And funny thing is that we got a lot of complaints next few days. The complaint was such great cherries, such great price. Why we cannot buy it? So they want to buy more. So I think the demand is huge when you got 1.4 billion people. You probably cannot. You only have 300 million people. 1.4, oh my God, that's a lot of people. And doing business is never easy. Try to learn. It's not that difficult to do e-commerce. If Jack Ma can do e-commerce, you definitely can do it. I'm for sure. A good thing is that today we are using mobile phones. We are not using computer. Computer is very complicated. Mobile phone buy and sell is easier. We hope one day with a mobile phone, if you plant potatoes, you can sell potatoes to anywhere in the world. With mobile phones, if you have a car, you can book Uber anywhere. So this is what we envision. In next 20 years, China, internet, e-commerce, e-business partner will be everywhere. And people are always scared. Will you be cheated? Or is there anything that scare me? Small business, you have nothing to lose. Don't worry about it. The only thing you worry about is lose the opportunity. If you're losing China, if you're losing developing country in Asia, if you're losing the internet e-commerce, you will lose the hope, lose the future. Marco Polo, 1,000 years ago, he came to China. It took him 8 years to walk from Europe to China. And from China to Europe, another 8 years. Today, 8 seconds. You can go to China 100 million times because internet. At that time, Marco Polo came to China. There are a lot of terrible things happen on the way. Today, there's nothing that has happened. So please catch up this opportunity. The thing I want to tell you here is that don't miss this chance. This chance is going to be changed. And I think most of the small business will be globalized. If you are not a globalized business, small business, you will out of business. I'm not scaring you guys because you have to think out of the box. You have to do business. Because you're small, you are unique. Because you're small, it's difficult for you to compete locally. Because if you use the internet, you can compete globally. So don't miss opportunity, catch the opportunity. What Alibaba want to do is we want to build up the platform. We want to enable you with finding consumers, enable you finding the business partners, enable you to solve the money receiving problems, the payment problems, and logistic problems, and computing capability problems. But don't say, oh, does that mean I have to using Alibaba? No, not necessarily. Using any internet services, any e-commerce company that can help you to sell your things outside. Do not think, oh, well, should I rely on Alibaba? Rely on any e-commerce internet companies that you think it is helpful to you. So, but we commit that we will do a bad job. Finally, let's talk to our young people. The artificial intelligence is coming. And robots is going to replace a lot of jobs. But I'm a belief that 30 years later, this new technology is going to create more jobs than today. Every technology revolution comes, they kill jobs. And then 30 years later, those people who understand technology, who change themselves, they start to make more jobs. So pay attention to the kids' education. Machine is going to be smarter, but human beings are always wiser. So try to teach your kids to be more creative, to be more innovative, because only those people who are creative, innovative, then they can survive. And let our kids spending more time on doing e-commerce, because doing e-commerce is about respect the other culture. Doing e-commerce is about a communication. Spending more time on doing business online rather than only on chat box. and on emails. By the way, I have one thing I noticed. It is so difficult to convincing successful people. One of the reasons why Alibaba succeed, because 10 years ago, we focused on those young people who are 18 years old, 20 years old, because they are not successful. If we help them, spending time with them for 10 years, they will be successful. But those people who are very successful, they will give you 100 reasons why we should not take this of new innovations. So spending time on the future and making sure that generation, I noticed that many American senior people, they spend a lot of time on sending, receive emails. Young people using the WeChat and chat on the mobile phones. This is the generation change. So the generation change is going to be scary. Let's make it up. And also, please use the internet. Please do business with China. Please learn and find the people who are smarter than you are. Thank you very, very much.
Okay, Jack. I know I'm not Charlie Rose, but I want to ask you a couple quick questions, if that's okay. You're not done yet. You've got thousands of business owners in this audience, thousands of entrepreneurs. What do you want them to take away from this experience?
Yeah, don't miss the opportunity. I think the next 30 years is the opportunity for people like us. The big companies, they have to looking for a way to survive. But we have to look a way to expand our business, to finding more partners. And I think China is the best opportunity. Internet is the best opportunity. Don't miss it. This is what I want to say. Just try to learn. Just like when I open the internet, my friend in Seattle say, Jack, just to type in the word, it's not a bomb. So go do business.
And I'm dying to know what's next for Jack Ma.
I will go back to teach.
At Harvard? They will be begging, I'm sure.
I think that I will go back to teach in the entrepreneur schools, share with them the 1,001 mistakes. And I also would love to spend more time on the things I like, the environment protection, all these things. Because I don't think next 5 years I'll be strong, or 10 years I'll be strong enough to operate, to govern such a big economy. We should leave more opportunities for young people. And I think the world belongs to the young people. The world belongs to those people below 30 years old, the company who are below 30 employees. So I want to do the things that I'm good at, that is being a teacher.
Well, we're glad that you didn't make it into the police department or KFC. And we thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and giving us an opportunity to learn about how to do business in China. Thank you so much, Jack.
Hope you guys got some value on this video. And if you want more videos about making money, subscribe now and I will send you a notification and an update whenever I create a new video so you guys don't miss nothing. You guys have an awesome day and I will see you on the next video. Peace out.